my son has amazing, he has no idea about the passage of time, but he knows when, if I said we're doing this at quarter after whatever, if when it's quarter after whatever, we better be doing the thing.
That literalness, yeah, the little you
Yeah.
said.
He's
Yeah,
got that one, but you said we were doing this at this time, which is
yeah,
why I never tell him what time we're doing anything. But yeah, but again, it's knowing kind of where your kids' superpowers are, where are their vulnerabilities. And right, if your kid's really good about right noticing the clock and seeing that it's time, let them have that, right? You don't have to kind of baby
yeah,
them into the, well, you got 5 minutes. But if your kid needs that, you've got 5 minutes, then do that. It's not enabling, it's those supportive measures. It's the
right.
things
Yeah, and
they need to be successful.
that's that again key one that I have to dig in later about that enabling versus supporting or enabling versus accommodating.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a big one. But yeah, I do remember what I was gonna say though, is that idea of, like you said, the burden on parents is to figure out what's going to be the problem areas for their son or daughter. And I think it's also important, like in the long run, for them to understand that about themselves, right? At some level, to recognize, oh, I don't do well in noisy, crowded situations, or I can be in here for about 10 minutes, but then I'm going to need to take a break, right? So then you help them learn strategies over time if they can. I mean, you take advantage of the things that like, so leverage the things that they're good at. Like, say, if your son's really good at time telling or knowing when a certain time comes, then yeah, you can use that. I mean, use it, but
Yeah.
you can help him learn to use it to his advantage, right? Rather than it being something that's a
Yes.
problem.
Than it being, yeah, than
Yeah,
it being too distracting. I want to talk about you talked about that kind of front loading space for right knowing, hey, we have to go do this loud, noisy thing. We used to make my son go to my daughter's band concerts.
mm,
We don't want to go either, but we all had to go. But it was letting him know not only, hey, it's going to be this long, we're just going to watch your sister play, then we can leave or he could leave. So it's not just right recognizing when they might have that, right, when they've kind of reached capacity. But I really like to make sure that, my own kid and then the kids I work with have their, I always call it their exit strategy.
yeah,
Like, where's the place that you can go? So then everyone knows, like if my kid gets up and walks somewhere, that's because I've told him that's where he needs to go, right? If you need to walk, then you're going to go walk over here. If you need a quiet space, you can go down the hall. There's a room there. If you can get all that kind of prearranged, I think that helps reduce the anxiety too, because the situation is anxiety inducing enough, but then they don't know where to go or how to fix it.
yeah. If there's no
Makes
plan
it
B or
even
no
worse.
exit plan or
Yeah, if you've
something,
got
yeah,
exit plan, yeah, it's exit strategy. Like, hey, if you're at the family gathering and it gets too much, right? It's okay if you go down and go to grandma's room for a while and just sit in there and do
yeah.
whatever you need to do. I think,
Yeah, or bring like, hey, you need, this to be a noisy place. Maybe bring your noise canceling headphones, or make
yep,
sure you're dressed comfortably. We're going to be outside or something like that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But yeah, I like the idea of, particularly on vacations. I use this one a lot for some reason. Like, have a plan B, so the rest of the family
yeah,
doesn't feel like they're being held hostage. Like, okay, well, if they're old enough, can your son or daughter just stay back at the hotel and hang out at
yeah,
the resort or something like that? Or can you, if you want to go to a museum and they don't want to go, or they get bored, then they go out and sit on that bench right in the lobby or something like that, and we'll come get you. Or
mhm,
have strategies and have accommodation tools, I guess, whether that's their
yep,
cell phone or noise canceling headphones or music or a video game or movie to
yeah,
watch or
whatever
whatever,
works.
right?
Yeah, whatever works. I had a young woman that I was working with that really did have pretty high levels of anxiety, and they were going on vacation to a place that was familiar, but they were staying in a different, this time they were going to stay in an Airbnb instead of the hotel that they normally stayed in. And she was like, but I don't know that place. And it really, so we just kind of set it out in advance, and parents knew that the strategy was the minute you get there, go find your space. Go find the space that you can go to, find out how far you can. She was older and was able to, go outside if she wanted, right? But here's the parameters. If you're going to take a walk, go walk over here. Like, they had it all figured out before they did anything. So when that situation arose, then she already had the game plan. And she knew, oh, okay, I'm just going to go take my walk now. And
Yeah,
everyone knew
that's
where
a
she
great
was.
example of that front loading idea, right? To try to make a plan in advance when possible and try
Yeah,
to
because
figure
trying
out
to figure it out right in that moment. And right, we know when you're in that fight or flight and people are like, well, try this, try that. And right, they're just throwing stuff at you. And when you can't think clear, like everything's going to sound stupid. And your kid will probably tell you that. That's really stupid. I don't want to do that. But if
Right.
you can make those thoughts and strategies way ahead of time when emotions are not dysregulated, so much better for everyone.